I want to start with some comments that Ochocinco made over the weekend. He was on the Nightcap podcast with Shannon Sharpe and had a bit of a Freudian slip mentioning the specific player he had talked to, but he said that's not the only player he had spoken with about Shedeur Sanders. So this is Ochocinco talking to Shannon Sharpe about a conversation he had with a Browns player regarding the Browns rookie quarterback.
So here's the question. What happens when one of the NFL's top cornerbacks breaks the unspoken code and accidentally spills the tea on what's actually happening behind closed doors in Cleveland? Yeah, it just happened. Denzel Ward was never supposed to drop that name, and Chad Ochocinco Johnson, he wasn't supposed to let it slide either. Though when you're watching a fifth-round rookie QB doing things that make even seasoned vets freeze mid-rep, sometimes the truth just slips out. Word inside the Browns facility is getting low-D. And what they're saying about Shedeur Sanders, it might flip this entire QB conversation on its head. This isn't media hype. This isn't a preseason puff piece. These are real reactions from dudes who line up against elite quarterbacks every single day. And they're all saying the same thing. He looks different. Let me set the scene. You're watching Shannon Sharpe's Nightcap podcast, laid back vibes, casual chatter, and then boom, Chad Ochocinco drops a bomb. He starts talking about his convos with Browns players. He's cool as ever, just sipping and chatting, and then lets it fly. Now the entire Browns front office, yeah, they're in scramble mode. Something big is brewing in Cleveland, and if these whispers about Shedeur are even halfway true, we're about to witness a QB shakeup nobody saw coming.
About it, I got a couple of young bulls out there. I talked to Denzel Ward. I talked to some, but I didn't say the name. But anyway, I done talked to some people. He looked different. There's a difference when that young bull is out there spinning that ball. You hear me? Mm-hmm. Difference. I'm talking about football. I ain't talking about no media and all that hoopla and all them, on Twitter, they putting up the numbers. Some he with 10 for 12 for 2 touchdowns. I'm talking about when he's at the helm, he looks different. Whether he's going with the first team, second team, or third team, it don't matter. I understand getting drafted in the 5th round. All that means nothing when it's time to play football and that whistle blows. He looks different than the rest of the competition. That's what I heard.
Is Cleveland hiding a franchise quarterback at QB4? Everything was smooth sailing until it wasn't. We're on Shannon Sharpe's Nightcap podcast, and Chad Ochocinco's just vibing, telling stories like he always does. Then, out of nowhere, he drops this. I got a couple of young bulls I'm keeping an eye on. I've been talking to Denzel Ward. Boom. Scratch. Chad realizes what he said. You can see it on his face. Ah, damn. I wasn't supposed to say that, but it's too late. The name's out. The buzz is live. The cat is sprinting out of that bag. Denzel Ward. Yeah, that Denzel Ward. Pro bowler. Lockdown corner. A dude who's lined up across Mahomes, Josh Allen, Lamar, you name it. He's been talking to former NFL players about a rookie QB making waves in Browns camp, and that rookie, Shedeur Sanders. But hold up, this isn't just another offseason name drop. It's what Chad says. Next that hits different. He looks different. Not, he's got potential. Not, he's learning. He looks different. And that young bull is out there spinning it. And let's be clear, he's not talking about social media hype or some viral highlight. He's talking about football. Real football. When Shedeur's under center, he doesn't just look solid. He looks special. Whether it's with the first team, second or third, it doesn't matter. He stands out. Now pause. Think about that for a second. This isn't some coach hyping a guy for completing checkdowns and shells. This is a 5th-round pick making such a strong impression that veterans are reaching out to media personalities just to talk about him. That doesn't happen by accident, but Chad wasn't done. He made it crystal clear. Denzel Ward isn't the only one talking. There are multiple voices inside the Browns locker room saying the same thing, the same line. He just looks different out there. And these are players on the field, in the huddle, watching this kid sling it every day. Now let's talk context. Shedeur wasn't supposed to be in this conversation 6 months ago. He was drafted in the 5th. The NFL said, cool story, backup material. But then Zach Jackson drops another nugget. He's watched the tape, all of it, and here's what he said: the dude can throw. And honestly, he's doing exactly what I expected, maybe more. That's not a hot take. That's measured. That's film talking. And then it just snowballs. Kurt Warner sees it. Bernie Kosar, Little Brown's royalty, he's on board. Drew Bledsoe, a guy who's worked alongside top-tier quarterbacks, he sees it too. And that brings us to the uncomfortable part. If Sanders is this good, why isn't he getting first-team reps? Right now, he's 4th on the depth chart. Let me say that again, 4th. Behind Joe Flacco, Kenny Pickett, and Dorian Saxey-Wubisi. And now the internet's lit. Conspiracy theories everywhere. Is this part of a master plan? Are the Browns hiding him from the spotlight to avoid a media frenzy? Or is there something they're not telling us? Because here's what we know: Shedeur Sanders has taken 0 first team reps during OTAs and mandatory minicamp. Not a single snap. For a guy that veterans are openly calling different, that's either a tactical masterpiece or a total organizational fumble. The ultimate Cleveland sports show had a take that might explain it. They're protecting him, holding him back on purpose, so when he does take over, no one can say it was handed to him. And honestly, that theory checks out, because here's the dark cloud hanging over all of this. Last year, Kevin Stefanski, week after week saying, Deshaun Watson gives us the best chance to win. You remember how that turned out. The coaching staff lost credibility, the fan base lost faith, and now everyone's asking the same question. Can we even trust this staff to evaluate quarterbacks? One of the podcast hosts put it plainly: should I lose faith in whoever made that decision? Because the Browns didn't miss by a yard, they missed by miles. And into that storm walks Shedeur Sanders, a rookie, with no first team reps, in a roster full of guys who haven't proven a damn thing. But here's what makes this situation so different: the players actually want this guy to win. Last year, according to reports, players were done with Deshaun. Didn't matter, they kept playing him. This year, you've got Denzel Ward, the same guy who locks down WR1s every Sunday, going out of his way to tell the media, this kid is the real deal. Next up, training camp. Then joint practices with Philly and Carolina in August. And if you know anything about those joint practices, that's where things get real. No red jerseys, no slow walkthroughs. That's when defenses are trying to separate your soul from your body. And the fans, they want answers. Some are saying, give Sanders the EATR first preseason game. Let's see it, all of it. Because if he really is what these vets are saying, he's gonna have to prove it. Not in 7-on-7s, not in no contact reps. Against real defenses who don't care about your draft status. And here's the million-dollar question: what if Shedeur Sanders really is Tehat guy? What if the Browns found their franchise quarterback in the 5th round while 31 other teams outsmarted themselves? Think about last season. Watson couldn't stay healthy. Flacco had flashes, but couldn't sustain it. It was musical chairs at the most important position in football. Now suddenly, you've got a rookie so inflated vets are breaking the locker room code to talk about him. And the Browns coaching staff, either they're protecting him or they're straight up missing it. Let's be real. If this kid turns out to be the answer, it's the ultimate redemption story for a franchise that's botched quarterback decisions for decades. But it also raises big-time questions. Why did every team pass on him multiple times? Why didn't Cleveland draft him higher if they saw it coming? And how long before the pressure forces their hand? Here's the bottom line: players don't decide who starts, coaches do. That's how it works. But when you're torching elite defenders in practice, when you're throwing back shoulder fades on Denzel Ward in the red zone, players start talking, and that kind of buzz, it's hard to ignore. So here's where we stand: a 5th-round rookie turning heads, multiple credible voices confirming what they're seeing, a coaching staff playing it close to the vest, and a fan base starving for hope. By August, we'll start to know the truth. By the preseason, we'll see if Sanders can handle live fire, and by week 1, we might know if the Browns finally got it right. But here's what makes this one feel different: the locker room believes, and when Denzel Ward believes, that carries weight. The talent is there. That's not the question. Saying he's going to keep speaking his mind, how the Browns have learned from their past, and if they'll give this kid the shot he might already deserve. So what do you think? Is Shedeur Sanders the real deal, or just the latest training camp hype machine? Drop your take in the comments, smash that like button, subscribe for more deep dive coverage as this battle unfolds. And trust me, you're going to want to be here when Sanders finally gets his shot. Because in the NFL, the truth always comes out, and if Denzel's right, Cleveland might be sitting on a franchise-altering secret.